the government kind of roused itself to say that it was going to do two things in as a consequence of this debanking that's going on. One of which is it's going to extend the notice period for an account closure from 2 months to 3 months to give savers more time to challenge the decision through the Financial Ombudsman Service. So 1 month extension for the execution basically there. And then the second thing that they're doing is banks will have to explain why they're terminating a person's bank account. So while you're 3 months later, while you're actually strapped to the pole, the man will actually read out the charge sheet fully against you. So I don't really think those two things make a dime's bit of difference, really. What's needed, I don't know what your thoughts on this are, but I think what's needed is a new law to say that you are everyone is entitled, certainly every British citizen anyway, should be entitled to a personal bank account. I mean, how difficult would such a law be, and why is that not being brought in? What's your thoughts on that?
Alistair, we used to have, before the post office was privatised, everybody had the right, because of course when the post office was privatised under the wonderful Lib Dem called Sir Vince Cable, who privatised the post office, everybody was entitled to an account, and that was right across the board. There was no question about that. That all changed, of course, when you've got private companies. They can do what they like, which is what the banks have done. So there is a move. Nigel is now, as you know, has got a website up for all those people that have lost their bank accounts either privately or through business. And so this is absolutely massive. If you think of 1,000 a day, and you think of the ones that have gone in the past, I mean, I think I'm glad it has happened to him because he has spoken out. But it's a shame in a way that many people didn't speak out a long time ago. This has been going on for about a good 10 years. And a lot of people have been debanked, which is so, it's a long time coming. But there's two things here. One, of course, is the individual. Second is the company. Thirdly, which nobody's mentioning, NatWest have made £3.6 billion in the first 6 months of this year. Now, I'm all for companies making profit. You have to make profit to have your staff. And also, yes, you pay your shareholders. This is obscene. Savers aren't getting the benefits. And you think of the people now that can't afford their mortgages, can't afford their overdrafts, etc., that are being closed down for that reason as well. But they've made £3.6 billion. It is obscene.
Oh, absolutely.
That's 6 months, not a year.
Yes, if you're able to set up a bank, then it is literally a license to print money, quite literally print money, as they say. But you're right about, thankfully, Nigel was debanked in the sense that I couldn't think of a better person to pick up the sword and fight on that particular matter, because household name, with Touchwood, hopefully continue to have a television program reaching every household in Britain, and also got a lot of sympathy from millions and millions of people. So it's so good that he's been able to take up that fight. But as you say, this has been happening for years, because I remember when Tommy Robinson was debanked, and nobody cared about that because it's him, and nobody wanted to stand up and go, poor old Tommy. But they should have, and some of us did what we could to point out that, well, whatever you may think of him, they're coming for you next. And back then, the government should have stepped in, and they could have said, well, we don't particularly like this particular person, but this principle of debanking him is wrong. But they didn't even do that. They didn't even try to make their excuses and try to just speak on the principle of the matter. So you had to realise back then this is a serious situation. But that's interesting what you said about the post office. I did not know that. But that's a very valuable thing, which has a very, very valuable thing which has been destroyed as a consequence of government policy. And will they bring something like that back?